David McCuan, who's a professor of political science and chair at the political science department at Sonoma State University. He joins us from Sonoma, California. Good to have you, David. So we look at these refugees, a million of them already spread now in countries surrounding Ukraine. I mean, the refugee issue was an enormously sensitive one even before this happened. But we are seeing a relative openness from countries willing to take these people in.
Right. This is a different situation than what we saw with Syrian refugees and have continued to see with Syrian refugees. And I think some of those buffer countries that we saw just next to that graphic in the map. So if you look at Germany, if you look at the Czech Republic, you look at Greece, those next stage countries, if we start to see refugees there, we'll start to see doubling or tripling of this number. Clearly, this is going to grow. And obviously, the United States is going to pay close attention to this. Having troops on the ground, having NATO participate in this will be critical as that kind of goes out to this next stage, depending on events in the Ukraine and what happens with cities falling in the next, say, 72 hours to 96 hours. That will be something to watch kind of moving forward, because it could change the dynamic about the coalition and where we sit. Right now it's whole, but let's see what happens moving forward.
You know, it is remarkable to see the difference in receptivity among some of these countries, especially the countries that have extremely hardline stances on immigration, Hungary and Poland. You mentioned the difference between what's happening now and that happened with Syrian refugees. Is it pure and simple racism?
Well, I think it's not so much racism as it is the overt kind of clear element of totalitarianism and the abject clear resolution of what has happened by the West against Russia. Now, there are elements of this in terms of those types of refugees and what's happening. Obviously, there's an undercurrent of race to this. You can't get away from that. There's also a different development here, and that is the abstract has become real with what has happened all of a sudden with this invasion of a democratic country that was trying to get closer to the West or closer to NATO. There's that element. The Syrian situation, very different because of the mess of what has been going on to Syria, if you will, as that civil war developed.
You know, as the Ukrainians have been able to hold off Russian forces, which to many was remarkable. I mean, Russia has doubled the army, double the air force, double the weaponry and firepower that Ukraine has. There's been this optimism around the world that the Ukrainian people can do this. But realistically, is there a chance of them holding on to their country militarily if these talks, the second round of which happens today, don't work out?
Yeah, I mean, I think you put your finger right on it there, Michelle, because look, what has happened here is this is a different manner, a different development. This is Vladimir Putin moving forward in that totalitarian way, that clear way. And this is a moment where the world has rallied. There's a pessimism, a fatigue about COVID, a pessimism about our politics and where things are headed across the world, not just in the United States, not just in Europe. So that's an element to this. And it has really crystallized this particular conflict, people together and moving forward. Let's see how long that can hold, especially as we see some of those developments with the strength and the Russians kind of changing kind of what they're doing. And clearly they're taking a moment to decide what to do next. And that could target civilians, and that could get really, really ugly.
Yeah, and it's difficult day to day to know whether the developments are cause for optimism or deep pessimism because you see both. But David, always great to talk to you. Thanks so much.